If you're in the market for a hybrid, you've got more choices than ever. But the all-new 2017 Hyundai Ioniq faces more than just stiff competition. Hi, I'm Keith Barry. Hyundai's first dedicated hybrid is hitting dealerships just as Americans can't get enough of SUVs and crossovers. Gas prices are low, and so are sales of America's top-selling hybrid, the Toyota Prius. But Hyundai is playing the long game. They're betting that with $4 a gallon gas somewhere down the road, that Americans will flock to a car that promises fuel economy in the mid-50s. For now, the Ioniq is a practical hatchback, a car that gets good gas mileage but doesn't draw attention to the driver. But is it a good car? Let's find out. Hyundai offers 3 variations on the Ioniq theme. There's an all-electric version that gets 110 miles on a single charge, but it's only available in California. A plug-in hybrid version is coming, and it'll be available later this year. That leaves the Ioniq Hybrid I'm driving today, which combines a 1.6-liter gasoline engine, a 32-kilowatt electric motor, and a lithium-ion polymer battery pack. Together, the whole setup is good for 139 horsepower. But unlike other hybrids, the Ioniq doesn't look like the result of a science experiment. In fact, it's downright anonymous. The Ioniq's only giveaway is the flat tailgate it shares with the Prius and the Honda Insight. It's called a camback, and it gives it a 0.24 coefficient of drag. That makes the Ioniq one of the most aerodynamic cars on the road. But from the front, it looks like your garden variety Elantra or Accent. Inside, the Ioniq shares a lot of other Hyundai interior bits, and that's a good thing. That means you get a really solid fit and finish, and you get unexpected extras. Even the entry-level blue trim comes with dual-zone climate control, a proximity key, and satellite radio. Step up to the SEL, and you get heated front seats, a power driver's seat, and a leather-wrapped steering wheel. I'm driving a top-of-the-line Ioniq Limited, which means I've got comfortable leather seats, an upgraded Infinity sound system, and BlueLink, which is a telematics suite that lets you check on and remotely start your car from your smartphone or even your smartwatch. But no matter how many options you add, you won't find the dashboard distracting. Look, it's got knobs for tuning volume and temperature. The shifter is a shifter, not a dial or buttons. The controls you don't use that often are buried over on the left side of the steering wheel. But all the important stuff is within arm's reach. Everything is big and easy to find by touch, and it just makes sense. The same goes for the screens. On the SEL Unlimited trim, you get a 7-inch gauge cluster that's anchored by a big speedometer. Then there's the touchscreen in the center console. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard, so you can load map and music apps from your phone without having to learn a whole new operating system. And that's one advantage the Ioniq has over the Prius. The Toyota still doesn't play nice with smartphones, and its navigation system is conspicuously antiquated for such a high-tech car. If only Hyundai had paid as much attention to active safety as it had to entertainment. While the Toyota Prius still comes standard with automatic emergency braking, it's optional on the SEL and limited trims of the Ioniq, and you can't even get it at all in the entry-level blue trim. If you want lane departure warning, forward collision warning, or smart cruise control, you're going to have to pay even more. On the SEL, they're included in the $1,000 tech package, but on the Limited, they're bundled along with premium audio, wireless phone charging, and a memory power driver's seat in the $3,000 Ultimate package. That is a point for the Prius. Do you think that makes the Prius the better choice? It may be better at driving itself, but I still think you'll enjoy the time you spend behind the wheel of the Ioniq. It has a similar hybrid powertrain to the Kia Niro, which I drove recently, and I also found that pleasant to drive. Because it has a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission instead of the more unusual single-gear eCVT setup that's typical on hybrids, the Ioniq feels more engaging and more responsive than the competition. The same goes for the brakes. Because they're doing double duty, recapturing energy to charge the battery, most hybrids have brakes that feel weak until they suddenly grip, but the Ioniq's brakes are smooth and they're linear. Steering feel is a little dull for my tastes, but that's intentional. The Ioniq is tuned for comfortable highway cruising. My only real concern is the slight lag when you suddenly accelerate from a crawl. It's unnerving to feel the car hesitate when you're pulling into traffic. Oh yeah, and the fuel economy. I got about 45 miles a gallon in combined city and highway driving in the Ioniq. That's really impressive, but it's about 10 fewer miles per gallon than the window sticker promises, and about 10 fewer than I got when I recently drove a 2017 Prius. I noticed a similar difference when I drove the Kia Niro, although the Niro only got in the mid-30s. That difference is probably because the Ioniq is smaller, lighter, and more aerodynamic. That doesn't mean that it's less useful. Although it's a hatchback, the Ioniq uses its space wisely enough that you can pack 26.5 cubic feet of cargo in the back, and even more if you fold the seats down. That's slightly more than the 24.6 cubic feet of cargo space that the Prius offers, and it's largely due to the Ioniq's lower loading floor. Both cars have the same width and length, but the Prius has a 3-inch shorter trunk opening. Passengers also get 3.1 cubic feet more space in the Hyundai, but that doesn't translate into rear legroom. The front seat sits so low that there's no room for the rear passenger's feet. One number isn't up for debate. The Ioniq still costs less than the Prius, regardless of which trim you choose. The entry-level Ioniq Blue starts at just $23,035, and a well-equipped SEL with a tech package, which I think is the best value, is a hair under $26,000. Those are both a few $100s less than a comparably equipped Toyota Prius. At $31,335, the loaded Limited I'm driving sure costs a lot for a hatchback, but it's still less than a Prius 4 with similar options. Hyundai's 10-year powertrain warranty and lifetime hybrid battery warranty add some extra peace of mind. If gas prices do go up, I predict the Ioniq will be a hit with the sort of hybrid skeptic who wants to save some money but doesn't want to draw attention to themselves. But no matter how much it costs, the Ioniq is never going to be a Prius killer. It's more of a Prius alternative. That's because Toyota has defined a category with its hybrid. Hyundai just built a practical hatchback that's really good on gas. If that sounds good to you, then I think you should give it a test drive. To read my full review of the 2017 Hyundai Ioniq, head over to CarGurus.com. I'd love to read your thoughts if you leave them in the comments. And if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.